So I'm a totally convinced that the book is key for anybody for all the reasons your founders knew.
Well, the way I like to start everything out a little bit is just asking where you are in the country and, kind of how long you've been in real estate.
All right. The short story is I'm in Florida. I'm in Brevard County down on the Space Coast by Cape Canaveral. Being from the New York area, I've sort of come to Florida for years. As a little kid, we used to get on to Miami, New York, Miami. It's sort of I used to call it the bus down to Miami. You go out of LaGuardia, you end up in Miami, all your friends are down there. Anyway, business brought me down to South Florida. We went back up to Boston. So it's back and forth career-wise. I had always been doing real estate, even I think it was 26 or 27 years old. My brother lived out in Colorado and we were skiers, and I decided I wanted to buy some real estate. So I went back to New York and decided to buy a property. And the story as it goes, I closed on a property from my Manhattan apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, using a lot of FedEx with a bank in Texas, a realtor in Denver, and a condo up in Vail, Colorado. I closed in 11 days. And I thought, this is fun. I like this. If you want to get it done, how to do it. But I recognize there's a process that if you know the steps and you can short circuit the steps or get 3 done at one time instead of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I closed. They said, you can't do that. We never done it. It always takes 6 weeks. I said, I don't want 6 weeks. I got to get it in there and rent it for the season. So that was the early bug, I think, just liking real estate. And then I sort of off and on, I was in a marketing career, corporate America, and real estate was my sideline hobby. So I had property up in Connecticut, waterfront. I had property in Florida. I had property in New Jersey, I had property in New York City. And it's just always been kind of a side business. Lo and behold, here I am now as an older adult in Florida with my wife, and I worked for a consulting firm on data, artificial intelligence and analytics and all that stuff in healthcare. And that business kind of came and went. And a friend of mine was also in a similar lifestyle. He had done real estate over the years. And the funny thing was, when this company ended, we were both like, well, we both do real estate. Maybe we should get together and become a partnership. So we did. This is right before COVID, by the way. So we had these grand plans. We're going to do this software, and he's a tech guy, so we're going to get the systems and automation, stuff like that. But the funny thing was, we were not getting much progress. And I came across, I think then it was Smart Agents. And I saw the books, and another coworker of mine was from Jacksonville. And I said, this Atlantic Beach, whatever. He said, oh yeah, it was at Jacksonville Beach. I grew up there. And I said, really? He said, I'm not sure I know those guys. But anyway, I went to my partner and I said, I think we should do these books. This could give us a lot of authority. We're new agents. We don't know what we're doing. And we've done it ourselves over these years. He had bought and sold a lot of property himself. So we could just say how great we are and brag, but this book would tell you we do know our stuff. And I remember the quote, he said, we're not publishers. It was kind of a funny thing. We're not going to be publishing books. And I said, all right. At the time I was working at a local radio station here on HOA. I was going to do radio podcasts on a little community. It's like Farm It with their own radio station. And it was really good. I'm still going to work on that. It's only 2 years later. But anyway, we ended up not being partners for a variety of reasons, and COVID hit. And I had gone and done expired for about 6 weeks. And the funny story was, the one I had in the review I sent to you guys was, I got this call in January before the COVID, and this lady asked me if I could sell her home because she had to get rid of her home. And it was a personal tragedy, and she had to just move. And it was very emotional. And I said, yeah, well, it turns out she called me because she had the book. And I went over there, and I knew I had dropped it off at her address, but she couldn't quite recall. And then she brought the pile of stuff up, and the book was on the top of the pile. I said, there's the book right there. And we, listed it, and it went through COVID. We finally sold the house and then sold her another house. So I actually got 2 deals out of one book. That end of next year, in the end of COVID, it was just ending. A second call comes in and says, hi, are you Bob Cheeseby? And I said, yes. And they said, well, are you in real estate? And I said, yes. They said, did you write the book? It's kind of like one of those kind of things. And I said, well, yeah. They said, well, we have to sell our house. Can you come over? And I said, okay. And I said, what's your address? She gave me the address. And I said, oh yeah, I remember I was over there driving with my wife, dropping off a book. And I got to your door and there's nobody there. So I got back in the car. And then as I was getting ready to pull away, you pulled in your driveway and I got out of the car and I walked up to you, kind of accosted you at your door, but handed you the book and said, just read it. Don't worry about it. Just information. She said, I remember that. How do you remember that? And I said, I don't know, but I remember handing a book to you and your husband. They said, yeah, well, we want you to come over and list our house. I said, okay. So we set up an appointment the next day or whatever. I go over there and I say, no, you interviewing, standard question, interviewing other agents, what's your timing, how you go through it. And they kept saying, no, we're not interviewing anybody. And I said, okay, well, what's your next step? They said, we want to sign a listing agreement. And I said, okay, well, that's great. She goes, well, you're the guy, you wrote the book on this. And they had the book there. This is a year later. So that's chapter 2. Chapter 3 is, now I'm on my own. COVID's out. I've had a few lists. I have like 5 or 6 deals, but all through friends and referrals and dumb luck. Someone just calls my website and I get the call. So I'm trying to work on all the projects that are out there. And there's thousands of them of coaching and lead gen. And you want to spend money, you can spend money. They'll take your money. So being a marketing guy, not in social media or digital marketing, I was a traditional, network television kind of guy. I had to learn all this social media. So I remembered, I had under my desk this box of books that still have a partner and I on the picture. I won't show it to you on the camera, but since we're not a partnership anymore. So the punchline here, and this is what really is why we're talking today. So I'm going through this video stuff I'm going to do. I'm going through the blog that I'm going to do. I'm going through the content that I get subscription to push it out in my emails. And that's all working. My wife goes, well, how'd you get that listing when that lady called you? And I said, well, I guess it was that book I sent out. Not thinking much about it. And she goes, and then the ones over up in Merritt Island, you got that one sold. And I said, well, yeah, that was a book too. She said, well, there's 2 for 2. Why don't you do the books again? And I thought, that's why she's my wife. I said, you're right. So I dialed up and signed up for Authorify. Shocked at how much it's improved over those last 2 years. I couldn't believe the software and the editing software and the programs and the campaigns and you probably know, because you talk to a lot of agents, there's so many pieces of software you can get, so many programs, they overlap in some areas and they leave gaps in others. So you need a third piece, and then Zapier, and then MailChimp, and then your coach tells you something else, and you get all this advice and you can't get it together. So that's where the books have now become a central part of what I call assets. It gives me credential. It's a marketing tool. It's a physical tool. And when I was talking to one of your folks today, they said, after a year, that book was still in that house. I said, yes, after a year. And my picture's on the front and it sells every day. It's sitting there. When they're ready, there you go. So I'm a totally convinced that the book is key for anybody for all the reasons your founders knew and have made it available to the rest of us. So it's great.
Right. So having your experience in traditional marketing, you think of commercials and all those kind of things. It's not that one ad that's selling it. It's the cumulative effect of seeing it multiple times. And I think that's really what, the book does, because it is sitting there on that coffee table. And, when it does come time for somebody to sell, you're still sitting right there and they've seen you over and over again, whether or not they ever talk to you, you've established that connection with them.
It did. There's a third story where I didn't do a very good job, but I mailed a book to someone that expired, and he had a contract on a new construction and it got delayed. And it had to be delayed because he couldn't sell his house. So he said he was so angry that he didn't get his house sold, and then he lost the contract on the house that he wanted to buy. So he had to push a whole new contract out. The builder let him do that. So the success story was there. I'd call him every couple of weeks and he'd say, Bob, good to hear from you. Just checking. How's it going? Made decisions yet? No, but I've got your book right on the kitchen table. I see it every morning. And I said, well, do you read it? He goes, yeah, I flip through it. I go through a page, flip through pages. The chapters are short. It's easy to read. And everything you put in there makes so much sense. And then he had some family thing that went on and he stopped answering my call. I call and leave a message, and it kind of went dark. And then for 6 months later, the house still didn't sell. In the middle of COVID, I lost track of that one. So, and I don't even know today, if he had, I think I saw the house got sold and I never called him up to track again, but that's where the book was doing its job. I didn't have the system and the coordination to keep following up with all those, capturing the lead and putting on a drip campaign. So that's something I know you guys have added to that now. So I could keep him active where before I didn't do a very good job of that. But so now anything I do with the rest of the marketing I do, the books will be part of it. I'm going to take the books when I send it to somebody, I'm going to put video of me in an email and in a text and say, hey, Bob here. Hope you got my book. I dropped it off the other day. Hope it helps. Click done, send it. So I can leverage that content. The book is the reason. And then it just dawned on me this morning because I had another seminar of what do you say after the 10th phone call? And I said, well, I got a lot of stuff in here. I could say, I was just thinking about you because we talked about staging. Why does staging really matter? Well, go to chapter 11 because that it's all in there. So take a look at that. Okay, good talking to you. Take care. So I've got content now that it's all in my hand that I can leverage through the video or emails or anything else I want to do. So it's become like the cornerstone, I think, of my content marketing. So I'm excited about it. I think it gives me some peace of mind of the pieces that are all running around, spinning and confusing me. This kind of became, I wouldn't call it an anchor, let's call it a touchstone. That I now have something physical, and I tend to be physical more than digital. And the ebooks are great, but I like to have the book in my hand. And I probably will lean toward giving more physical books than maybe most people will. But the ebook gives me the opportunity to send it because a lot of people are digital.
Right.
They don't need that. They didn't grow up with a book. They don't want a book. I'm an older guy, and I have some older customers. They want the book. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. Well, can you send me something? An email, they go, did you send me? I didn't see it. The physical book they see. Yeah. So, but I have the touchstone now. It's the foundation of my program. So
yeah, and I honestly think for me, if it was me using the books, I would send the email and send the text, but then still immediately, send the physical copy. Just saying, hey, I sent this to you on your phone, but I want you to have a physical copy also because it is that physical copy that's sitting on their coffee table looking at them.
Right. Well, you had mentioned earlier, and from my marketing background, we used to have a measure. They still do in media. It's digital clicks, all that stuff. But how many times someone needs to see it? And there's been studies and all that kind of stuff. Right. But we have a standard measure in media. It's called reach and frequency. And then we actually had effective reach and frequency. And we determined that sometimes people couldn't see a commercial for three or more times before they even remembered it, or much less got motivated or made a decision, I'm going to try that brand or that product. So we got into 7-8 times. And we even got into ways of, the whole idea of putting a commercial on TV 3 times in the same program. That was stuff it was an innovation back when we were doing it. But wait a second, you want reach. You've got a 20 rating on one show. We used to have road blocking that at 8:03, you'd buy a spot to be at 8:03 on all 3 networks. Right. So if you virtually covered 100% of the people watching TV at 8:03. So that got you broad reach. Now, the problem is only so much money. You can't put the 3 commercials on every hour on every station. So then you got the frequency, and it got to effective reach was how many times they saw it 3 or more times. And this sitting on someone's table, or someone gets the book after they've gotten your text, after they've gotten your email, and maybe after you called and spoke to them, that's 4 touches. And I think the video part, which makes this even better because it has your picture on it, is it's personalized. I think that's the one thing missing in today's world is personalization. And when you touch a product, again, market research, you see the ad, and you try to sell them on the product before they actually touch the product. But another story we used to have is you spend your money on trial, you earn your profit on repeat, which means you might send somebody, they see it 100 times. It costs you every time they have to see it. That ad costs you money. So you're negative. They haven't bought it yet. Once they buy it, they're going to buy it 20 more times. That's where you get it. So you spend on the trial, you earn profits on the repeat. And this book just keeps for free repeating the message to them. So, do I sound like I'm convinced it's a good program?
Yeah. Well, we certainly appreciate having you.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
great. It's great.